These guys are ridiculous. These guys are ridiculous.
Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back with another episode of the How About Them Celtics podcast. Sam and I are here recording on Tuesday, December 6th, and we are joined by Evan Valenti of the Celtics Beat podcast. And as I told him before we started, the most fashionable person we've probably ever had on the show.
Doesn't take much.
Very true. Considering my entire
Jack and I both in white plain shirts.
Yeah.
I got just a gray hoodie on. That's about it. But hey.
Well, considering my entire wardrobe comes from Target, I'm not really one to talk.
Shame in that. You can put together some good stuff from Target, man. You just gotta have the right mind.
Exactly. I'm a good fellow guy. I don't know if you've seen the brand, but that's essentially where all of my clothes come from. It's very comfy, which is what
the idea. As long as you're comfortable with. My only advice to guys is always wear whatever you wear confidently. Okay, because when you don't wear something confidently, you're not gonna look. People aren't gonna look at you the same way. Like if you wear something and you don't feel comfortable in it, it'll show. And but if I have several outrageous things that are just the most obnoxious. I have a red sequin dinner jacket, and I wear that I look like the man. And carry yourself that way. People it's actually a big winner, but you have to carry yourself that oh my god, I look so good in this, and you have to exude that confidence. That's a big thing.
I love it.
I'll tell you, I have these powder blue joggers that are dress pants.
Mm-hmm.
And I am not confident in them. I feel like I'm playing for the 1980s Kansas City Royals.
You should definitely be confident in that, because that's a look from the 80s Royals, and that's cool. Totally fun. You just have to wear it these are badass. And if you're wearing a white t-shirt, just wear a nice white t-shirt and those and white shoes. See ya.
I'll tell you what, the best piece of clothing I own that is something I wear confidently, and it is the most outrageous, is a quarter zip fleece with Newman from Seinfeld on it.
That's fantastic stuff. First off, the quarter zip, the most versatile piece in a man's wardrobe right now, and it's got Newman on it. That's a great reference. Can I ask how old you guys are?
I'm 24. Jeez,
I'm 23, almost 24. But
is Seinfeld cool?
Yeah, Seinfeld's cool. Jack's never seen Seinfeld, but Seinfeld's
I haven't.
cool.
But I've been told ample times to watch.
So good. So good. I'm glad that it's still living on. I always question if things that I think are cool or were cool when are still cool. It's good to know that that's still cool. I'm great.
What are some that you're on the fence about? We'll try and tell you.
Oh, I don't know.
There's two moderately cool guys.
Yeah, I'd have to really get in the nitty gritty of things. But there's probably a bunch of music things that I could ask, but off the top of my head, I couldn't name it. It'd have to be something that you gave me some time to think about. But that's a great question.
Gotcha. Well, maybe by the end of the show, you can hit us with some hard hitters. But I started the show like that. Obviously, I see your suits on the timeline all the time. Just elite fashion sense. So there is somebody on Twitter, Pete Rogers, who has put together a thread of designing a Celtics jersey every time the Celtics win. So sick. Shout out Pete Rogers. Just
Shout
legends,
out to Pete, man. Hell yeah. If you're not following this on Twitter, get on it. It's great.
You need to. So I was hoping for those of you watching the YouTube channel, you'll be able to see them. And if you're watching or listening on podcast platforms, head on over to YouTube.
I'll describe them.
Yeah, we'll describe them. But I was hoping you could give us your thoughts on the jerseys, and we could just discuss them. And we don't have to rank necessarily, but just which ones we like. All right, let me share it on the screen.
Rogers hasn't missed yet.
Yes.
No,
I agree.
Not.
Hasn't missed yet.
All right, here we go. All right. So 1-0, Celtics win.
Classic.
First one, diamonds on the side, green and gold trim, green Celtics jersey, normal, some cursive font. Again, hop on over to How About Them Celtics podcast on YouTube and you can see it. But what do you think, Evan?
It's a classic look right here. I like this a lot. I mean, coming out of the gates with this, I think Pete understood the assignment of, hey, I'm doing Celtics jerseys. There has to be a classic element to the C's jerseys. This is doing it for me. This is a solid 7 or 8 out of 10. Could be higher than that, pending how this goes. But that's a really good, solid footing to start with right there. That's great.
Big fan of the gold text myself.
Yeah,
I've always been a sucker for the St. Patrick's Day jerseys.
They should just let Pete design the Celtics,
I agree.
Alternate jerseys at this point.
Yes,
wholeheartedly agree, because just about everything they pump out is garbage to me.
He's killing it. He's again hasn't missed. All right, I like that one.
Exactly. All right,
What do we got?
2-0, another Celtics jersey, all green with white lettering, and the I in Celtics is lucky. I love this. Shamrocks on the side. I think it's great.
I think it's a step back from his last one. It's fine.
Really?
It's fine for me. I mean, it's like kind of. I'm not trying to give Pete any. Can I swear in this podcast?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't care.
I'm not trying to give Pete any shit here. I just think there are so many better ones
Okay.
that I know of. I can't go too high with this. I just can't because I know there's so much coming. Look, they wear the greens all the time. I don't like how they don't wear their home whites all the time, and it actually bothers me.
Oh my god, I agree.
That's a Sam classic.
This is
right
church.
They
For the
don't-
home whites, this is home whites church.
Yeah, they don't wear those nearly enough. They are so they're a staple of NBA uniforms. Like it doesn't get much more classic than that. I mean, the Lakers yellow, I guess, and there are others, but like just the classic C's white jersey just does it for me every time.
I feel like they've been better this year about it. I feel
They
like
need to wear them
because
a lot.
Keith Smith is another person that is heavy on the home whites in the correct place.
Yeah.
Train. I'm on the train. You're on the train. There are plenty of people around Twitter that are on the train. I feel like the voices are starting to be heard because I truly feel like when they're at home, they are mostly wearing
I feel
those
like they
or the
play
black
better
ones.
when they have those on. Like I have no,
I agree.
no stats to back that up. But just they look better when they
This year they haven't lost. I don't think.
they haven't lost
I swear. If Forsberg will tweet it out sometimes, I'm pretty sure they're undefeated this year.
I love how Forsberg's the guy in charge of that too. It's good. We need somebody with that stat. Again, I think it's a good jersey, but like it's a step back.
And as
I'm
we
a
go down the
sucker-
list, I'm going to have to take points off when it is a white jersey because I just think to myself, they're taking away from the greatest jersey in basketball.
This is trying to be the Sonics a little bit, which I think is great. So I'm way high on this jersey. This is nice, and I like the Gaelic font for the 9 is nice, and the Shamrock's fine, bro. It's a uniform. Let's have fun with it.
Of course, for those on audio platforms, it's a plain white jersey, yellow and green trim with just a giant shamrock in the middle, green with yellow trim, and then, like Evan said, a kind of a Gaelic font for the numbering. I don't mind it. I think it's, like you said, maybe just because of the levels Pete has gotten to, I think it's probably lower on the list.
So, again, this is an important nod only because the Sonics are no longer a franchise. If the Sonics were involved, then we'd have to move on from this one. But, like, it's just keeping that alive for now. I hope that somebody buys a team in Seattle and they put the Sonics back there because it's a disgrace.
I agree. All right. We'll move down to number 4 here. Black jersey with green, gold, and a white stripe across the middle. In the middle is a silhouette of Lucky with green numbering outlined of black on the bottom. I think this is clean. I think it's very out there and different, which I think the Celtics need a little bit sometimes, at least for the alternate, just a little bit.
I do like this jersey. It just feels a little too Bucksy for me. I think the Bucks have a similar jersey. That being said, this jersey is a good one. Like again, there aren't really misses. I have like minor critiques of Pete.
Yes.
Like if they wore this one time, I would not be mad at them for wearing it. That's for sure. I guess the question again, you'd have to have the trunks match and like have those colors over like the part just above the knee to really like because you go all black, you can. To make it work, I think better. If you did it like any one of the other colors, like a brown, it looked very cheesy. The bottom has to match exactly, otherwise it's weird. But I think that's fine. Again, just a little too Bucks for me.
Bucks, yeah.
I think it's cool just because it's different enough and it's not overstepping its bounds and stepping on another jersey that they already. I mean, I guess the black one, but
I don't
think that's
think
an
I'll give
alternate.
Pete a grade lower than a 6. Like
no, they're all Heat.
Like that's a sick jersey. If they wore it one time, I bet they sell a bunch of them. No question.
100%. All right, 5th win of the season. We have this one. It's an all green jersey. The trim is little gold shamrocks along the trim, and then in the middle, it's effectively just the classic Celtics, St. Patrick's Day lettering, white outlines with gold, font. I think it's clean. Again, I like some of the previous ones, but this one's solid too.
I'm going 9 here. This is good. This is nice.
Ooh.
This is my favorite of the bunch.
I like this a lot.
Well, so far.
They should rock green a little more than they do, frankly. I mean, they are the Celtics, so let's get real. I think this is a cool way to do it. Maybe the shamrock's not on the sleeve. I don't know. Maybe you could change that up a little bit. It's just a nice nod, I guess. But the coloration is freaking dead on.
Yeah,
I agree.
I like this one.
Again, my favorite of the bunch so far.
There you go. All right, 6th win of the season. We got a Celtics jersey, less Bucks green, more bright Celtics green, white cursive letters with kind of like, I want to say it's kind of like that 70s show shadowing, but they're like different shades, slightly of green underneath. Kind of green stripes on the side. Apologies to the audio listeners for how poorly I'm describing
This
these.
is why you don't listen to this podcast on any audio platform. This should be your push. Like if
Exactly.
you should watch this.
Jump to YouTube. I'm encouraging. How about
Will
them
this be
Celtics
one of our
podcast on
clips, Jack,
YouTube?
for this one?
Yeah, this will be its own clip video for
Yeah.
the jersey segment. It's got to be, but yeah, this Celtics jersey, like I said, white cursive font with kind of that shadowing in green underneath. I like this. I like this.
This is 8 or a 9.
Mhm.
Again, it's just clean. It's very, very clean.
Exactly.
Again, one of the things that you have to remember with the Celtics that clean is good. It doesn't have let the brand sort of speak for itself in a way, and this is definitely doing that. I hope somebody critiques what I'm saying too, and like comes up with some. Like, Valenti sounds like he's too pompous or some shit. I can't wait for that.
I like this one. This is probably my favorite take on the Bill Russell edition so far that we've got on this list. I know he's done a couple that are similar to it, and I think they've all been upgrades, but this is my favorite of them so far.
Can we talk about how She's 35 is trending for a second?
Yeah, I don't really know what that is. I was kind of I was checking my trendings before we started here to make sure it wasn't anything odd, but
Is it
I don't really
Hillary
know.
Duff? Is it
I don't know.
Hillary Duff? Because people
Should we click on it quick?
Hillary Duff.
What is this? She's 35 is trending. It is
AOC?
AOC. Yeah, that's what it's looking like.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Okay.
All right.
Anyways, back to Celtics. I went through my trending, like what's happening to make sure it was safe, and then as soon as I started sharing my screen, I'm like, oh,
I was like,
that's
hell
interesting. But anyways, Celtics. Also, it's great that the Celtics are the best team in the league too, because Pete gets so many chances. They're 20-5 right
yeah,
now.
I honestly tweeted to him a while back. I was like, dude, I hope you got 50 more in the chamber. And I said that early on because it was like, damn, these guys are definitely like good at basketball. And I'm assuming at some point we'll talk about basketball. But
of course.
Like I asked him, I was like, dude, you got to have at least 50 more to go. It's like this is, and then he might need 60 plus when we get done with this whole thing, and that's going to be crazy to come up with 60. Do we have an over under? You guys have a number?
I think 58 is a good over under.
What was it before the season, Jack? Because we talked about it, and I was like over 1,000,000 times over. Like I was so confident in the team.
3.5.
I think 50 around that. Yeah, 53, 54, and even I think 58 could even be low. Yeah, I think 60 is
played 25 games. That's about. Let's just take like the first quarter of the season. They were like 17-4. They should be able to win 60. They should.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But when you go into the beginning of the year and you have Joe Mazzulla has never coached an NBA game in his life, hard to say. Yeah, that team's definitely going to hit 60 games or something. That's hard to say.
It's tough. All right, 7th win of the season. We'll move on here. This is going to be hard to describe to the audio listeners. Again, I urge you to go over to YouTube, but it is a green jersey with sort of shamrock pinstripes in a different shade of green with kind of Gaelic font and numbering, slightly less than past jerseys.
Looks like a medieval font.
It's clean. Yes, that's a good way to describe it.
It looks like the regular away jersey, just with medieval font, but also those stripes.
Right.
Yeah.
I think I'd like the other one better than this one.
Mm-hmm.
Again, this is a solid 7 or 8 out of 10 for me.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I'm reserving the 10 for 10s later because there's some real creativity coming up.
I agree.
I
All
like.
Right,
the next one is sick, but it has nothing to do with the Celtics. But it's just a sick idea.
I like this one, but it's too close to the regular away jersey for me to like. I mean, you just can't make that. Like, it's too close.
I like the previous one better,
and I agree with that.
All right, we'll move on.
Right here. This is really.
It's a Boston Globe inspired jerseys with the Boston Globe text, numbering, and then one side of the jersey has a stripe going down of old newspaper clippings, which look to be Celtics headlines from years past. Like, I really like this jersey. It is, I will say, close to a ripoff of what the Clippers did a couple years ago, but I think this Celtics one that Pete has designed is better.
Well, does the Clippers one have any relation to the LA Times or something?
Yeah, it does. It's an LA Times inspired.
Was it LA Times or was it just supposed to be like
That's
like
dope.
Compton.
That's awesome.
No, I'm pretty sure it's LA Times. Let me find it real quick. We'll just do a quick
If that's
Google
the
here.
case, that's a
LA.
cool nod. Then I totally respect that. I didn't even realize that.
LA Times Clippers jersey.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess so.
LA Times Clippers jersey.
All right.
I believe.
See,
So
I
he
didn't
went
think it was
a little
that-
extra with it on the
The
side
newspaper
there. I like
clipping,
that.
yeah.
He did a better job.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I agree.
I like this. I like this a lot. All right,
Now,
ninth win of the season.
The question would be: is the Boston Globe logo more recognizable than the Clippers LA Times logo? And I guess
I would say so.
I guess I would say that, but we're all a little biased here.
Biased.
Yeah, 'cause we all live on this side of the country.
Yeah.
But I would say, like, right away, that's the script B from the Boston Globe, and I didn't know
Exactly.
right away that's the LA. Obviously,
Yeah.
that was the LA
I
Times.
agree. I just think the newspaper clippings is a nice extra touch that the Celtics could
at least allows the connection to be made. Like, I just thought it was all right, cool font on a Clippers jersey. Cool. This is an obvious connection.
Exactly.
So
Exactly. I agree.
Once again, Pete doesn't miss.
No, he's a legend. All right, ninth win of the season. We have a all black jersey, but faded into the black is the parquet from the Celtics. A different style of kind of cursive lettering. It is green lettering outlined in gold. I think this is a better version of the gray parquet jerseys they did years ago. I just think it pops better.
Yeah, I would agree with that. The question is it better than the black alternate they wear? I'm not quite sure if we're there with this one. But that's it's a good jersey. Again, if they wore it, I wouldn't be mad at them.
It definitely doesn't top the current black alternate now.
Yeah, I think the green lettering is maybe not the greatest. Again, I'm not Pete. I love you to death, buddy. Like, this is just we're really nitpicking here. This is bullshit. But I don't think the green does anything for me. If it were white, I think it might look better, but because there's more contrast between the black and the white. That's one of my biggest things. If we're going to relate this to fashion for a second, is gentlemen, try and find contrast in your outfits if you can, right?
Okay.
As for a great example, let's say you wear like a light wash or summer wash like jean, so it's really like light blue. Wear a darker top, and the dark and the light will balance very well. It doesn't have to always be super light all the time. Anyway.
All right.
That's good.
There we go. I appreciate that. All right. 10th win of the season. We have a very
100.
A very yellow jersey.
It's
effectively the same as the Celtics alternates, except instead of black, it is yellow.
The color
it's different.
It's literally the home whites, except you just made it yellow.
Yes.
This is the biggest color in men's fashion for fall, winter 22, gentlemen. This exact color. Again, really to the fashion world. Anybody that buys stuff and sells it as a retailer saw this color in pretty much everything. In terms of like pants, saw it in sweaters. I saw it in like goose down like vests and stuff. All that stuff. That's a winner for me.
This is the How About Them Celtics jersey. It matches our
It
font.
is. It does
would
match
be
our
perfect.
color.
Right.
I'm pretty sure I yoinked this exact color code and used it for the podcast. So I like it. It's different.
I was going to say, they yoink from us and we yoink from them, but this isn't them.
They did. This is Pete. Pete did not. The Celtics yoinked our old podcast name, but that's a story we can tell.
I don't remember if Pete does a Boston Marathon jersey.
That'd be a good one, though.
That feels like the follow up to this.
Mm-hmm.
But like,
I agree.
And I like the synergy there because I love that Sox jersey is I think awesome and people hate on it. I'm like, you guys are assholes. Like,
it's clean.
Like the Boston Marathon is a big part of like Boston's like kind of like history and social identity at this point, like culturally. So I think you got to lean into that a little bit. I think it's cool that the Sox do it. I think it's just fire. I love that combo. It always looks good. So I don't remember if he did one, but like if he doesn't do one, like Pete, do one of those. It looks sick.
Yeah, that's a good next step. All right, 11th jersey. I love this. 11th win of the season. It is an ode to the Zakem Bridge. You've got sort of crossing pinstripes in the style of the bridge. You got the white posts on the sideline, on the sides of the jersey. I really like this one. This is one of my favorites.
This is cool if like geography of Boston. I mean, if you don't know that bridge by now, you haven't watched the Celtics game. Like it's in every promo.
Yeah,
I'm apologize. I have a piece of ice in my mouth.
that's okay.
But that is a sick jersey. I wonder if green's the best base color for that.
Mm.
I don't know, but you can convince me it's not. But
You
the
can tweak it.
concept of the jersey is fucking tight. I love that.
No.
I think it
Sorry, you
rules.
want.
I think this is the best to where they're not straying away from the traditional Celtics look, but they're doing enough to make it different. So that other one with the more medieval font that looks similar was not enough, but this one has enough of a meaning to where I could legitimately see this being the jersey and people buying it.
Yeah.
I also think this would look really good on body. Like
What
the
happens with the shorts
sidelines.
though?
Yeah, that's something else you have to consider, I guess. But
Just
I
make
like
it
this
green
one.
and white. I think you could figure it out. Not that
Yeah.
difficult.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, what's cool in this jersey in the middle of July, like having a darty on like Bud Lights jersey.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Lots of sales.
Like,
This
let
would
me
get
tell you
lots of
something.
sales.
That's a vibe.
All right, 12th win of the season in the back half now.
Yeah.
Very interesting. All white jersey, green and gold trim. I don't even know how to describe this font for Celtics. It's just different.
I have never watched the show that much, but it feels very cheersy.
I was about to say the same thing.
You know what I mean? Like it feels like a cheersy type. Like I'm totally down for that too.
Very cool.
Not my favorite though.
I like it. It's different enough where it's not like where it'll be like eye popping for the Celtics, but it's like I don't know. It's good. It's clean. It's just.
I mean, so it's a white C's jersey, so obviously I'm
Yes.
into it at least a little bit. Yeah, we got like 8 more to go here.
Yeah, we gotta.
They're so
we'll get
good.
through these.
You got to rifle
They are
through
good.
some of these.
I'm enjoying this. All right, we'll get through 13.
Yeah, there you go. See, there it is. There it is.
Clean Boston Marathon jersey.
Yeah, that's hot. I love that. That's awesome.
Very sick.
I don't know. I think you should just do the Boston yellow, but Boston and white doesn't even look that bad. It looks like a UCLA jersey. So you know the color scheme rocks. Like I think that's great. They should actually wear that.
I'm surprised they haven't done that yet.
They should.
Yeah, out of all the things they've done and tried to be different, I guess they really have tried not to stray away too much from the team colors.
That's their issue, I think. I think they're trying to stray away, but they're not committed enough to just go for it like like different teams have.
Look at the garbage Miami wore the other night with their like
I know
Zodiac killer jersey, whatever the hell.
Yeah,
they went from the best jerseys to the worst, and it wasn't all right away because they made the gradient ones in between. But man, they have fallen off.
It was the Miami Knights jersey, right? Where it was like that, like
the Vice, yeah,
the Miami Vice jersey, right? That was like that broke the internet for a day. I was like, that is the coolest jersey I've seen probably in my lifetime outside of a Vancouver Grizzlies jersey. And what they tried out the other night, the Zodiac Killer jersey, was like really bizarre. This one puts that to shame, and they actually wore those. So again, we know it's cool because UCLA rocks it. It's a great connection to Boston. I think that's awesome. They should definitely wear that. I would definitely buy that.
Absolutely.
Boston the question is whose number, like who do you buy with that jersey on? And that's a great question. That's a tough one.
For sure. I like the 7. The 7 looks good, but a 0 would look pretty good as well. So 14th win of the season. We have a tan jersey.
Beige.
Like beige. That's a better word.
Taupe.
Beige jersey, green trim with beige line in between. Cursive Celtics with a clover dot for the eye, shamrock, I should say, and then just the normal numbering with green. This is clean. I think it's another simple but out there.
Would look bad on people.
Yes.
I don't think that would look cool on. I think like if you wore that with like a different pair of like pants or something, it'd look cool. But in matching shorts, it look fucking weird. I mean, it's fine. Again,
cool
we're
jersey.
14-4 here. They're not all going to be heaters, but like that's one of my least favorites of the bunch. But again,
I like this one.
Tough.
I think this is a cool take on the home whites. Yeah, I think the cream color, beige cream is the color, but this color is not legal anymore. They can't make these.
Why
Have
not?
you heard about this? Milwaukee.
No.
Milwaukee used to have jerseys this color, and they can't make them or wear them anymore because of the ads they put on the court. It's too close to the color of the court, so they can't. They would project the ads right on the jerseys.
Well, this is what the advertiser wants.
True. Maybe it'll cover it. All right, we'll move on to the 15th win of the season.
Sick.
Totally green
This is a good jersey.
green trim with just lucky on the front of it in all gold and the number
Minimalist.
kind of up top. I like this one. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
nice.
This is the best one with the logo on, like with a big fat logo in the middle. I think this is
Yeah.
the best way to do it.
You don't need anything else. You don't need anything.
Yeah.
That's it. Just have it be that. You're done. That's fine.
Very clean. Very clean. All right, we can move on. 16th win of the season.
Oh, I've never even seen this one.
Green with white pinstripes, Celtics cursive in yellow with a white number yellow trim. I like this. I think it's
This is an Orlando Magic throwback, and I'm all about it.
Oh,
I love
it
this.
is.
You're right.
I want them to do this so bad. This is like and even like a Houston Rockets, Stevie Francis, Rockets team esque like kind of pinstripe jersey. This is excellent. I would absolutely buy this. 100%.
It's nice.
That's dope.
I like it. I like
I'm
it.
fine
All right.
with this.
I wonder if you could actually if Pete could open a shop where it was just unique Celtics jerseys, could he actually survive doing that? Because
I
that'd
don't
be
know if they'd
actually
sue
an
him.
interesting shop. Because it's not the NBA would hate every moment of this, and they would
Of course.
obviously get a cut of this. But the idea being, could you make a shop of just rogue independent artist created NBA paraphernalia? Very nichey, but kind of cool, kind of neat. Could you do?
I agree.
Could Jaylen Brown's Juice Company
That's what I was going to say.
have a pop up independent artist sees jersey shop? There's somebody could probably do that and make a ton of money doing it, but obviously none of them are in this episode. So
I think the Celtics should just hire Pete next year. Just hire him moving forward.
Well, no,
come
so
They
on.
should.
you can't just do the C's stuff. You have to do everybody's because you can't have the C's put a beat down on like this and then have other people.
Oh, yes, you can. They've been doing it for years. The jerseys
Exactly. They're
always
doing
roll.
it this year. All right. 17th win of the season. This is my favorite.
Yeah, this is
It's
a home run. And now there are
so
people that got mad about this. This is an absolute home run, and they should absolutely make this jersey.
I'll
This is the
describe
best
it.
one I think and again, there's the hybrid hype, the mind hype of there's a couple of this version out there. Somebody make the version of this. That's all we're doing.
Absolutely. This is a T inspired jersey. It's got blue, red, orange, and green lines across the chest, and then they extend onto the side with Boston written vertically, but the T is circled like the T logo. This is the reason that I wanted to do this segment on the show. I'll put it that way. This is
that's the
so
best
clean.
jersey. What's funny is he got it win number 17. So throwing out heaters early. That's why I'm curious where this goes.
Exactly. I agree.
Do you think this might look better in black?
No.
No.
I think they could get away with doing what Miami did. They put out the white version of this year, and maybe it doesn't look as good in black, but they could probably just roll with it in black the next year.
The colors don't pop off black like they do off white. So
I see what you're saying.
It's more about the accent colors, right? So, I mean, the T logo will be very interesting with a black background on this, but it's really about the colors because the jersey is more about the four colors because they're the four colors of the four T lines.
Yes.
And they won't pop as much on a black background. It'll be harder to detect that blue a little bit. It'll be harder to detect that green. The orange and the reds will pop more, but with the white as what I call a palette cleanser, all of those pop individually. So that's why, if you wear, again, we'll make this fashion related for a second. As a guy going to a wedding and you have to wear some sort of outfit, when you take a blue suit and put a white shirt underneath it, you create what I call a palette cleanser. You can wear anything in the middle of that, and it's really going to kind of pop. If you make it bright in a fuchsia or something like that, it's going to pop more because you have that white background. Because it just everything pops off white, so that's why this jersey would be better than the black.
Gotcha.
But that's just a real quick aside. That's a sick jersey. I'd absolutely buy that. I actually think I would buy a Rondo in that and just be fine with it.
Yeah.
See, this is in there. That's sick.
This is why I wanted to do this segment with you. This is exactly the insight I was hoping to get.
That's the best one.
I love it.
That's awesome.
I agree.
I remember that one.
I
That
agree.
was hell yeah. Then again, there was all this bullshit about whose is it really and whatever. Somebody make a jersey from that and we'll be fine.
I like Pete's version, and I'll give him the credit here. All right, 3 left. 18th win of the season. We have a green jersey with shamrocks all over it in a slightly different shade of green, and then just kind of neon camo Celtics font. This looks like a camo jersey, maybe a little bit too much for me, but I still don't hate it.
Feels like an Oregon Ducks or Baylor Bears-esque jersey, which I'm fine with for a night. I think it's actually not that bad. It's just like a little bit more electric in terms of the green. But the dark green underneath kind of offsets that. I think it's different. I think it's fine. It's better than some of the other ones on here, I think. And I think people might be surprised by that.
This reminds me of the Earth Day jersey or whatever it was they had a couple years ago with when the arenas were empty.
Yeah.
And this is better than that.
Yeah.
That version of this was horrible. At least this has like shamrocks. Like I can get behind this.
Yeah.
That was just them trying to like say, hey, we tried to be different, but we were lazy about it. So here you go. Buy this. Give us money. But this one, not bad. I think the shamrocks in the back is creative. I think the font, it's like not annoying green. It's not neon enough. It's just a lighter version of green, and the base is dark to where it pops.
I see what you're saying.
Just pop in my head that you're probably going to tag Pete Rogers in this fucking show, and he's going to listen to this again. Pete, one more time, buddy. These are all homers, and you've been batting 1,000.
Absolutely.
It's just we have to pick favorites, and here we are.
Absolutely. This is, I mean, at this point, this is half the show, but it's worth it because these are these next two I think are really cool as well. I know Sam's not a Patriots guy, but an ode to the Patriots with the Celtics jersey.
I'm fine with that. I like the crossover. I think it looks a little too like Washington Bullets, Washington Wiz. But as a Pats like nod, that's fine.
I think it's cool.
I think the other one's better. I think the next one's better.
Bruins?
We'll just go right to Bruins. The 20th one so far is Bruins, and this is very cool. Replace the B in the Bruins logo with a shamrock. I think this is clean. Like you said with the gold shamrock, I think this is a nice centerpiece for a jersey. You don't really need much else.
Yeah, I think this kind of rules. And I don't really care for the team crossovers as much, but I do think this is cool, and people would buy the hell out of this too. Like they would be like, take our money.
Oh my God, this would sell all of it.
People like all the townies would wear this. They'd be like, yeah, dude, I got both the teams on my shirt right now.
Yeah, bro.
Of course. All right. Well, hopefully we can have you on later in the season, maybe with Win 40. We'll go over the next 20, but this is all we've got today. We're still going to talk plenty of Celtics, but this is the end of the jersey segment.
We went a half hour.
Yeah, a quick little half hour on the
jerseys. Jack worked really hard on this background. We talked about it yesterday, and you just didn't have it for the whole half of the show.
Hey, we had to talk jerseys. My favorite, we can go over favorites. I think the T was my favorite of the bunch so far.
I like the top three there. T jersey. There's a yellow based C's jersey, and then the I really do like the marathon jersey quite a bit. So
I like the one with the big ass Lucky in the middle. The green with the gold Lucky.
Yeah, that's fun.
I think that's a good one.
Very cool.
What else? It doesn't matter. That one stands out to me the most.
All right. Well, we can end the jerseys talk because I'm sure our audio listeners probably aren't a huge fan. But again, this is all the reason to go check out the YouTube. You can see all the jerseys there.
On the audio, you're the best. Thank you.
Exactly. And I'm gonna make sure I don't butcher it. Follow Pete on Twitter. Pete M. Rogers, Rogers. Legend, and he's putting out a new jersey every time the Celtics win, which, like we've said, is a lot this season. So let's just jump right into that. Celtics just picked up a big win over the Toronto Raptors. They've won 2 in a row now, including their one over the Nets. I have it here on my show sheet. I think the win against the Raptors is maybe their best win of the season. Because the Hornets, obviously they blew out the Hornets, but this Raptors team is a playoff team. They were down, and yet in the second half, they turned the ball over 2 times. They completely turned the game around, and then they won by almost 10,
6.
6. Okay, well, they played really well, and I think the way they turned it around shows their progression from early last season and how they've completely changed as a team. So I was very happy with this Raptors win. Evan, do you think this was the best one of the season, or do you look at something else?
I think we're all kind of prisoner of the moment, so to speak, right? Because it just happened in Boston. Look, they didn't have the. I don't get on the refs too much because I think obviously it's easy to do, but the refs weren't spectacular in that Raptors game last night. Boston's down a couple of guys. It's easy to make that case. considering, how much they ended up winning by. I mean, I would go to that Denver game that they won at home 131 to 112. I mean, that's against a team that's, has aspirations to get to the Western Conference Finals. I'd say that's a pretty big win right there. I know it's at home, but still that's pretty impressive. They went to Atlanta, beat the crap out of them 126-101.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good one. It's, the Dallas win 125-112. Didn't have to sweat out a Luka buzzer beater. That was awesome. Smacking down Sacramento 122-104. I'm just trying to throw some others out there just because I feel like everybody's getting kind of prisoner of the moment here and forgetting about some other things. They've had a lot of to brag about this season. There's no question about that. The only blemishes they really have in their record are to Chicago for some ridiculous reason in regulation, then 3 losses in overtime. So it's not like these guys are going through some really tough times. Like they've had a lot of good times. But I do think a lot of the things they showed last night where when a game's not going your way, how do you respond? And that third quarter was really something. I mean, it was really something. I was going through Timmy's highlights this morning, and shout out Timmy. Hopefully he gets better from his health troubles. But like I was watching, I think Smart hit a 3 on the left side, like third quarter, and Scott just goes, here comes the Avalanche, and like they have these runs that are just unbelievable. They're so crippling. And so if they're able to hang around in a game, I would be terrified if I'm the other team. Like you can't keep this team hanging around because one of these runs is coming and like you might not be able to come back from that because it could be 13-2. It could be 21-4. I mean, what did they do against Sacramento in the second?
Oh man,
that run like 46-4 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I mean, that was like the upper echelon of stuff like that. But this team, with the way they can put together an offense, just buries you quickly because, what's scary to think about is the Rob factor, which I'm sure we'll maybe get into here. But like offensively, there's going to be a time in the game where the Celtics just don't miss shots because of the quality of looks that they make and the quality of shooters they have around everybody. There's just going to be a time in the game when they don't miss shots, and you're going to have to hold on for dear life here. And oftentimes that stretches longer than a couple of minutes. It's like a whole quarter, or where they scored what was 45 and a quarter and then 78 and a half against Charlotte. Like I know that's the outlier, right? That's a ridiculous, but like that they have that in the golf bag, so to speak. Like they take that club out and just absolutely go crazy. So you can't be surprised when they do stuff like that. That makes it very tough for an opposing team if like you're Toronto and you're up 6 at the half, and you're trying to feel good about yourself, but at the same time, Boston's like lurking there with Tatum and Brown, who've been just absolutely ridiculous this season, and everybody is just kind of like falling right into place. It's been, 20-5. I mean, what like what do you like? It almost feels like you're being obnoxious sometimes, and you're like, wow, this is like incredible stuff. But if you're nitpicking here, you're just kind of a loser. No, I'm serious. Like, I did a Twitter rant the other day about this. I was like, you guys weren't like in the trenches when Vitor Favorani was playing games. Like, you just not like Von Wafer was getting minutes. Like, we didn't know what Courtney Lee would be. Like this is so unbelievably great. And again, at the end of the day, I don't know about where you guys sit, but it's just like, okay, just get to May healthy, and I'm good.
Yeah.
I just don't care what happens. I don't care what seed they are. I would prefer obviously a lot of home court stuff, but like I just need this team 1 through 11 healthy, ready to go when the playoffs start, and I'm good.
I'm like a strict father when it comes to Celtics. I really have high expectations, but seriously, you're right.
What's your biggest problem then? Like, let's go through
I don't have super big problems. That's one thing I will say. But
I'll say this though, Sam. Last year he came on the show and he goes, "The Celtics should start 8-0." There's no reason
I stand
they
by
shouldn't
that.
win.
Their schedule to start the season last year was not that bad. It was like Chicago a couple times, Charlotte a couple times. Like it was teams that they should have beat, and they started like 3-5. Like
they were 2-5.
Yeah, that's bad. Like
you jinxed them. But
I said this year they shouldn't lose. Actually, I thought they'd lose on opening night this year. But
I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Seriously, I guess my biggest gripe is like I just feel like they're so good. Is like why are these games close sometimes? Like that's like the most thing. It's like almost like a rich person problem. Like you have so much wealth, you don't know what to do with it. You're like, why is this game even close? Like this team's supposed to be so good. But I will like be a prisoner of the moment because I do feel like these 2 wins were great. Like Brooklyn and Toronto, like those are 2 conference, but also division rivals. You're on the road. Brooklyn was a team that was going to have a chip on their shoulder against you after you swept them in the playoffs. KD was on a heater going into that game. You pretty much pacified him. He still had upwards of 29 points. I think that was the line, but he wasn't taking over the game. He wasn't dominating you. And you won that game with your defense. And then you come out in Toronto and you win in a similar way where you haven't played great defense throughout the season. This is maybe not the best wins of the year, but it's something to be excited. It's something new to be excited about to me. Like I love that they're getting back to like strapping teams up because that's what made them great last year. And you're not always going to be guaranteed to be scorcher from 3. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, they're just more talented than these teams, though. Like,
oh yeah,
I'm not trying to clown on the Raptors specifically, but they just have better players than the Raptors do right now, and I mean, they didn't have 3 of their top 6 guys last night, and I'm including I guess 3 of top 7, and they won a game on the road without those 3 guys. It's pretty like if you took the top 3 of everybody's top 7 out, like they wouldn't win a lot of games like that.
Yeah.
This team is unbelievable. So like, you just can't have too many. Like they turn the ball over too much is the only gripe, and they did that one. They've done it a few times, but like the game against Miami, the 2 games and 3 nights against Miami. Like that's the only thing I'm really curious about, and that's the only thing I think at the end of the day that we have to really ask questions about is, does Missoula make enough adjustments in the playoffs to get these guys through this thing? Because like a guy like Spoelstra, who is just amazing. Like, I don't know how he does it with the roster that he has currently. It's really
I agree.
It's something else. Can Missoula scheme up some stuff to go toe to toe with some guys like that? Because that's like the only thing that I really have questions on at this point, because they're just very balanced. I mean, I posed this out the other day of who screws up the triple crown of MVP, DOI, EOI, and because it's just like everything is insane. This whole team is insane to start, and it's everything all together all at once, right? It's just like at some point some bottom's going to drop out, but at the same time, like, no, that's not. It's just everything is Brad on down. My God, what a masterclass.
Yeah. I do want to just tag onto that Kings win because I forgot about that. That was a fantastic win.
Yeah.
That was the equivalent of at baseball games when they have like Mr. Freeze race people.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, like you go ahead. And then he just blows by him. So that game was close and the Celtics were down through like 2.5 quarters. And then they just were like, okay, yeah, we're going to score 40 points.
The Kings are good at basketball, and most runners that run against them are not good at running that.
That's very true.
Yeah.
That's the only difference there. But yeah, a good analogy, yeah, for sure. But that was people forget about that win. Like that was supposed to be this huge showdown between the top 2 offenses in Boston. Yeah. Just clobbered them. Like it was like I don't know if you guys have done the thing where you listen to other teams' broadcasts.
Oh no,
but I
haven't.
That's fun to do, especially when they're on a heater. It's real fun because it's just like Joel Myers is the play-by-play guy for the Pelicans. And I forget who he does games with, but they played the Pelicans, and like early on, they're like 9 of their first 14 from 3 or whatever. And I think Joel Myers just goes like, well, they can't keep shooting like this. And then like fast forward to the 4th quarter, and the guy next to him's like, they're all open. Like they're all open shots. It's like, it's fun to watch people's brains melt a little bit. And I don't want to get like too ahead of myself and be too obnoxious because like you got to stay humble. You got to stay, got to build sandcastles every day, right? But at the same time, like, man, enjoy this too. Like, I think some people are not enjoying this the way they should enjoy this. Like, did you guys listen to Russillo and Simmons today?
No,
I hadn't. No,
they talked about how like Tatum and Brown collectively it should be like the biggest storyline in the league right now because those 2 guys are averaging like basically it's like facing prime Kobe and Shaq every game, and they score like 54.7 a game or some insane number. Like, yeah, enjoy that. And like the game last night, Smart, Jaylen, and Jayson decided that game was over like in the third quarter. They were like, no, this is it. And those three guys, I mean, they got a lot of contributions that night. But like those three guys specifically were on another planet last night. They were so good. So good. Passing was tremendous. Shooting was off the charts. I mean, everything.
Brown,
everything was
no
going.
Turnovers.
Brown was, yeah. I mean, what a luxury. In especially because people wanted to break them up just not that long ago.
I never got that. And Jack, I was on here every show, and I was like, these people are so stupid. Even when they were when they lost that game to the Knicks, we came on here and the world was ending. But I was still like, people that say they can't win together, they've been to the conference finals twice, and they should have won both times at that point. Like, I never understood that. I never understood it.
They were not going to beat LeBron. That's all right.
They should have. They were up 3-2, and they were up early in the game 6, and they collapsed in the game 7. It was, I mean, listen, it's LeBron, but you were still in position to win that. You should have beat Miami in the bubble. That team, again, Spoelstra, but that team was not better than you. That team last year should have taken. I mean, I'm going to go on and on about it, but seriously, like those guys can play together. I don't know why it was a mystery to anybody. It was just, I mean, look at the team they had in that 20 when it was like COVID riddled season. Like, look at it. Who was starting the playoffs?
If you talk to Grant, we've had Grandy on a bunch, and he said this a lot, that was the best basketball of the Brad Stevens era was when they got Hayward back when he was healthy for the first bubble games. That was the best they'd ever played. And then Hayward was never the same guy. I mean, he never was, but like he got hurt again, and it was just like.
And that was
people crap on Hayward too, and like people forget like he missed like a childbirth to play in the conference finals in the bubble.
That was a choice.
He gave it. He gave it to the team. It was a choice. It was absolutely a choice. I wouldn't expect anyone to do that. And I'm like King green glasses, like do it all.
Didn't work out. It's all right. Everybody's better now.
Yeah. Except for Hayward. I have on my list here also, I want to talk about Blake Griffin briefly because he's been pretty great when he started. He has started 4 games this season. I wrote about it for Celtics blog last night, and it just goes past the averages. He's averaging like 9 and 5 on like stupid shooting, like 75% shooting, 37 when he starts. Again, 4 games, tiny sample size, but just you can tell what he brings to the floor when he gets those starts. And that Raptors game, he played more minutes in that Raptors game than he ever did with the Nets, which is crazy, right? The last time he played that many minutes was when he was a Detroit Piston in January of 2021. So like the fact that they found, Jeff Clark called it a football schedule, which is just exactly what it is. He plays once a week and it's great for him. Like it's kind of like the perfect marriage. He's found a spot on the Celtics where he's an amazing locker room presence, and then he can step in to the starting lineup when Horford needs a rest. And he's been really good this year for the Celtics in his minutes.
Yeah, credit to Missoula and to Blake, right? And to Brad and everybody being kind of on the same page in terms of what his role is going to be, right? I mean, that's a lot of it comes like, hey, man, like we have a plan for you, right? I'm not quite sure what the pitch was, but it's like, here's our idea of how we want to use you. And if you're Blake, you know, what better opportunity did you have on your plate, right? Like you could have gotten more minutes. Is that necessarily better for Blake at this point? I don't know. But Blake comes in. Like, I'm not sure if Blake's thinking about the next check or not, just because he's already earned so much money at this point. It might not even be about that. It might just be about the chance to win a title, which he clearly has. Yeah. But if he's trying to get one more check, not the worst idea here to come in, look fresh when you do, hustle your ass off, do all the little things that people just don't want to do, like offensive rebound opportunities. You know, he's pretty good at making that stuff happen. He moves the ball very well. He can put the ball on the floor. He's good at taking charges, so he knows like where to be, when to be there. Like, so that's a plus. Just gives great energy, and he's a great locker room guy. Like, you have to have guys like that. You have to have guys, because it's a long season. You have to have guys that break things up, and that's why, not to make it a baseball thing, but like Kike Hernandez is
Yeah.
Huge plus to any team that he's on. I've known Kike since he was 18 or 17 when he just started into minor league baseball, and he was a clubhouse guy back then. And like he just has this personality of like he's just gonna make you laugh all the time. Like if you're having a bad day, like go see Kike. If you're having a bad day, like go see Blake. Blake will probably make you laugh like 16 times. You can tell that when he succeeds, everybody loves it. I loved the alley-oop he had the other night, and like Hab's face on the bench is like just out of control. Like Grant Williams like walking into the tunnel. The whole bench is like on the ground. Like that's big time stuff. And you gotta have a group like that to win. Like I don't know if people understand that, like the camaraderie thing, unless you have like LeBron. It's huge. That's why Steph is such a big winner, because Steph is like the greatest teammate in NBA history. He's the easiest guy to get along with. Oh yeah, by the way, he's the greatest shooter ever in the history of basketball, and he can get to like paint whenever he wants, and he's super unselfish. Like he's just awesome. You have to have that vibe, and Boston's vibe right now is off the charts. I mean, it's off the charts. When you have guys coming in like Luke Cornett impacting basketball games, and Peyton Pritchard coming in and impacting basketball games, and Blake Griffin, like guys that don't play and don't have a regular schedule can come in and impact winning, you have a huge advantage, because that allows you to, what Brad says, to shake the snow globe, so to speak. At any point in a game, you can flip the energy. And Boston has talked about this a lot with Peyton Pritchard. When Peyton comes into a game, the energy will change. And having guys like that as your 10th, 11th pieces, phenomenal. And what they're doing with Blake is revolutionary. I think people lashed onto that today. I forget who talked about it today. I think it might have been like Jared Dubin maybe lashed onto that today. How like the way Boston's using Blake could change the way people see guys like Blake, you know, later in their careers. Like, you know, theoretically, could Joe Johnson come in and give him like 15 minutes a night when they want to give Jaylen or Jayson a night off? I'm just like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a soccer like usage of a player. Like when teams like the Premier League or whatever, they have rotations, like they're playing games sometimes twice a week in different competitions. You'll see guys just straight up like not play, and be a rotation piece. That's what Blake's been, and he's been so great at it. Like you said, Jack, the stats in his starts are worlds better than when he was playing stint minutes off the bench. Like he believes in himself. He can still give it to you, maybe just not every night. This may be the perfect role for somebody like that, because I mean, he had big plays in Toronto. He had that huge dunk. He had the big tip in at the end of the game. He can still play. And he's busting his ass out there. Like you said, Evan, like he's hustling after every play. He's getting offensive rebounds like crazy. He wants to be out there. He's playing hard for these guys, and they all trust him and they like him. It's huge.
Absolutely. It's great to see him finally back into a place where he can play the way, excuse me, that he knows he can. Because like it feels like in Brooklyn they gave him that chance when he first signed with Detroit, but then towards the end of his first full season there, which was last year, he just like he fell out of the rotation completely. And then obviously when we saw him come into the playoffs against the Celtics, he was great. Like that, I think
scary.
that like exactly like first time he had played in a little while, and then he just kind of popped off for a bunch of threes, was hustling his ass off, like you said. And maybe that's what Brad Stevens saw. Maybe you saw him come in against the Celtics in the playoffs and be like, maybe they've got something here. And when Rob went down, and when, you know, Cornette sprained his ankle and they really needed an extra big man on the roster, thought of Blake. And it's been a perfect marriage so far. It's been a really good role for him.
Well, you think about the way that he plays basketball, like for offensively, like that's exactly how this, like people want to throw like, hey, what's Rob going to look like? I don't know, kind of like Blake, but way more athletic and like not shooting threes, but like that doesn't matter. Like that's the big passing on this team is outrageous when you think about Horford, Rob, Grant, Blake, and Cornette. Like all those guys can kind of pass, and that's a big advantage to have, because you know your center is just not a rock out there and just setting screens and driving into the basket. Like they're more versatile than that. And that's when you have different guys that can do different things at that position. Like that's a huge advantage. I mean, there's just not that many good serviceable big men anymore in the game. Like, you know, there's Jokic and Embiid and whatever you want to call Giannis. Like There's like a few weird guys, but like most guys are just like pick and dive guys and rebound guys. Like
So
Boston
what you're
has-
saying is the Celtics bigs are not Tristan Thompson. That's
no.
effectively
Tristan can set screens though. That guy can set some
he
screens.
could.
But
That he
yeah,
could.
we're far from that.
Which is great. Which is a much needed commodity that has elevated the Celtics thing. But you mentioned Robert Williams, and we can talk about this and then get you out of here. The jerseys really took up 30 minutes, which was I mean I loved every second, but Robert Williams, exactly. A nice switch up for the show. But Robert Williams set to come back sometime soon. They haven't really given a firm date. Woj mentioned Christmas as a potential date. I've kept on looking at the first home game back from this road trip. I feel like that'd be the perfect time to bring him back if he really is ramped up to the point where he can be ready. I don't think bringing him out on the road makes much sense just because they've got like a 6-game homestand when they get back of this road trip. I feel like that would just be the best time to bring him back. It would make the most sense, but there have been some concerns, like you said, he could take on a Blake role in the offense, but he can't shoot threes. And everybody in the Celtics rotation right now can shoot threes, which is what's giving them this huge boost outside of maybe Cornette, which again, we had Bobby Manning on last episode and he talked about how Rob could play a similar role to Cornette, except just better because he's Rob. He should improve the defense, but what are you looking for when Rob comes back? Another thing we've talked about is will he start or not? Just like, what are your thoughts on Rob's imminent return?
Just looking for the athleticism, really. It's going to take time for him to get back into playing shape, both like from a conditioning standpoint and then like from a offensive and defensive flow standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to take a while. I've been just keep icing him up as long as you possibly can until he everybody's 100% sure on where he is. Because they've got this 20-5 start, and like there's no need to rush Rob back at this point. But like I'm looking for the athleticism because that's how he changes games. Like he is a menace with a lot of stuff. His length is a problem for a lot of people. His height naturally is going to be a problem. His offensive IQ with the passing and the slipping and all that stuff. But Rob is a game wrecker because of his athleticism, right? Like he can jump out of the gym, his lateral quickness, his lateral speed, like that's all the stuff that makes Rob special. So that's the first thing you got to look for. Now that's probably not going to be there right away if it is like Rob's just a freak, but like that's what makes them even like way more dangerous is you're going to add a guy to this group that's the most athletic guy of the bunch, which is a weird thing to say. He might be the best defender on the team.
Mm-hmm.
Also weird to say considering Smart just won Defensive Player of the Year and Tatum's been so good defensively.
Ridiculous.
They might be adding a guy that's better than both of those guys. They're going to add a legitimate lob threat, which makes this team even funnier to watch in the half court.
That's such a great adjective for that.
Like their half court offense is already incredible.
It's comical.
Legit, like 70% from the field lob threat guy is going to be even funnier to watch. This is a huge deal right here.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I kind of just like don't do anything super brash until everybody's on board.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think people are even because like people are lagging behind on like how good Tatum and Brown have been. This might actually just, and I hate that we sound so pompous. It's the worst. But this like legitimately might just break everything. Like, okay, let's go back to Miami, right? The 2 Miami games. How many points did Bam have in those games?
He had, I think, 32 and 28.
Yeah,
he averaged like 30,
almost 30. He's been great.
So why was he great in those games? Because they didn't have Rob Williams, and when they have Rob Williams, that's a way different game. Because Rob is the guy that can hang with Bam on these screens. And when Bam crashes the basket, Rob is like, hey, I'm also right here and get that shit out of here. So there's how you break Miami, who's had one of the 5 wins against you. You go back to those Bulls series, the Bulls games, right? The Bulls did a great job of getting on the glass on both ends to limit Boston's chances to one and done and to get extra chance opportunities into their end. That's how they really killed Boston. I mean, obviously DeRozan was incredible and Sumu had a couple of great shots. I think Patrick Williams had a game where he couldn't miss. Like Kobe White had a couple of but like the reason why I lost the game is because Vucevic was a beast and he killed them on both ends. So you're going to add Rob to that. So you could go back to all of their 5 wins and be like, if you put Rob Williams in there, I bet you it goes different. And you could, I mean, again, it's such a ridiculous case, but you can make the case that Boston could be 30-0 or whatever with a healthy Rob Williams. That's what they're adding, the potential to be like unbelievable. Like this is a team last season that went on a run that for like what 3 months, 4 months, that was like just the best team in the league by a mile.
Yeah.
I remember we
They're
were
like 37-9 or something stupid.
Yeah. We were talking with, I think it was Gorman. They played the Jazz on the road. And the game was over after like not even the first half, but it was like over. I remember being like, that's the best half of basketball I've ever seen. And I remember asking Mike Gorman, I'm like, is it the best half of basketball I've ever seen? He goes, it's probably very close. And then like the crazy thing was the half they had against Charlotte might be the best half of basketball I've ever seen. Like for
Crazy.
real. Like that might be the best. That actually might be.
And they weren't healthy. And Al Horford
Yeah.
didn't play.
Yeah, like that might be the best half I've ever seen from the team. So like this team is 20-5. They have Rob Williams coming back. And then like the one thing that nobody's talking about because there's been no need to talk about it. The C's have 2 TPEs that are just sitting there.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so happy we don't have to talk about that.
No,
You
but
know how
like
many times we've talked about TPEs?
No, but they can go out. There's still room to add. I don't even know what you add. Like, what do you add to this team? I don't even know. Barring injury, probably nothing.
They should pay us, and we'll just sit there.
I don't know. Like, I don't know what they do. They have ways to get better. There's like no question.
Maybe they should use it to bring in a Griffin-like guy at a different position. Maybe that's the move. Because that could be a good point. I don't know who it would be.
I've looked at like
seeing how they use Blake. It makes sense.
Yeah, I was gonna say Stanley Johnson. I would like to come off, but he's a free agent right now, so they could just sign him whenever they wanted because he was
Justin
good.
Jackson spot on the bench is like the only spot.
Exactly.
Like, there's not a legitimate NBA player there, and I'm not here to hate on Justin Jackson, man. Like,
of course,
shots at Justin Jackson, shots at Pete Rogers, hostile.
But like again, go through the roster and name a hole, and they have unbelievable guard depth, wing depth is probably, but like. I mean, I don't think Gallo plays, but I'm a little shocked he's where he is in his rehab right now. Like, I don't expect him to come back, but at the same time, I didn't think he'd be doing all the stuff he's doing right now. So
exactly. I mean, like the only hole you can point to is maybe they don't have enough big men, and then they have an all defensive caliber big man who hasn't played a game this season in Robert Williams. Like it's kind of
smaller in the league. It's trending smaller. Like, does that even matter? Like, they have enough guys. I don't know.
It's ridiculous that they're a what was it, Sam, that you said? It's a something of wealth, like
it's just like a surplus of wealth. Like they just have like
it's ridiculous.
They have FU money, like pretty much like that's what they have. But to piggyback on the Rob argument, the Bam point in that is so accurate. In the playoffs last year, Bam dominated. I want to say in game 1 when Rob didn't play.
Yeah.
And he had like 30 points, and then Rob came back, and he didn't have like another good game until Rob sat. Game 3, Rob didn't play, and he had 30. And then every game Rob played in, he didn't do anything. And
what killed him in the bubble? Bam.
Yeah, Bam.
In the bubble.
And Rob wasn't ready.
High pick and roll with Jimmy and Bam. Had no chance. They had no idea how to. They couldn't defend it. So they had Rob, and problem solved.
And then think about this: Marcus Smart's nasty now, and he's averaging like 7+ assists now, and he's not throwing lobs to anybody. Marcus Smart throughout his career has been a great lob passer. Just look at how he had chemistry with Horford his first stint here. Tice, he would throw lobs to. Even Rob last season. I mean, just think of the potential for him to play make with Rob back.
Assists are going up. I mean, Jaylen had a lob to Luke Cornett the other night, for crying out loud.
Cornette's good. He's like Rob, but like awkward, and not as athletic, but he's tall enough to make up for it, and he's kind of funny.
Yeah, I agree. I just, what a surplus of wealth here. It's crazy. It's like, I don't know. I'm trying to stay humble about it.
It's hard though.
This Milwaukee game is going to be like, so Boston. Yeah. Let's just get at least a little current here for the audience that has bared with us here. A lot of big games coming up. Okay. Phoenix, we're taping on Tuesday, so Phoenix is tomorrow night in Phoenix, then at Golden State, then at Clippers, at Lakers. However you feel about all of those 4 teams, those are 4 like pretty big games, right? Depending what LA team you get in the Clippers. I don't know if Kawhi or whoever going to play. But you're going to get Phoenix, Golden State, LA. Now, Orlando sucks, and we know that, and that's great. And the Pacers have been good.
Yeah.
So that'll be a fun one to watch. Then they play this dog shit Minnesota team.
That trade their whole future for a guy that's a role player. What do you think of Gobert? Before we move on, just because this has been, I'm sorry to interrupt, because this has been a contentious issue in the past between the two of us.
Is Gobert good? Is that
I just think he sucks. Like I don't think he sucks. I don't think he's, and I understand why Utah had to pay him a max deal, but paying that guy the money he makes is asinine, and then trading your whole future for him is even more asinine.
I mean, independently of those things, he's a good basketball player, but he's way overvalued in a few different ways. Like,
is he a role player?
Yeah, a good one though.
All right.
Really good one. Like he's not a superstar.
I agree with that.
Being paid and traded like it, but yeah, no, he's not a superstar. And as much as Andy Bailey wants him to be, he's not. But he's a very good player, and if you have the right team around him, I'm sure you can win a lot of basketball games.
Minnesota doesn't.
No, they don't. They don't. They absolutely don't. They don't have the wing defense to help him. The problem is every team that's ever had Rudy Gobert has just been so dog shit on the wings defensively. They're just hoping that Rudy bails them all out, and they do. You imagine if Rudy played defense on the C's team with like Smart, Brogdon, Tatum, Brown, Grant, like all these defenders that can like stay in front of their guy and like, like I do feel bad for Rudy in that way. He hasn't played with a point guard that's like looking for him ever. So, I get his frustration about a lot of stuff, but he gets way too much money. But anyway, so you have Minnesota the 23rd, and then the Milwaukee game on Christmas Day is like obviously just a giant, absolute enormous game. That I can't wait to watch. So there's some if the C's walk out of here, let's see here. There's 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If they're like 30-6 in their next 10 games or something, like, I mean, I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, that's the thing.
Like harp on the 2 losses. That's how you do it.
Yeah, exactly.
If they're 29-6, like we're just gonna sit here and be like, what? I mean, I that's why you got to let like some of these games play out a little bit. And again, at Phoenix, at Golden State, those will be tough. Milwaukee at home will be hard. But like, dang, this is awesome. This is awesome, and enjoy it because like the Hayward season, the first season went over in 5 minutes. Enjoy every of this stuff. This is amazing stuff. I look forward to watching this team every night. Like. It doesn't always work out this way. It doesn't always work out this way. The people that complain, as we maybe wrap up here, like the people that complain about this team, you just please get a hobby. Like I don't know what to tell you. It's ridiculous.
Well, the Patriots aren't good this year, so they have to do something. Exactly. Yeah. Those are the people complaining, are the people that like mainly follow the Patriots, and they come around like traditionally after the Super Bowl would be over for the Patriots, and then they start paying attention. Now this is the full-time thing, and they're not used to it yet.
Yeah, this is, and then the Bruins too. Like I'm not a huge Bruins guy, but they're beating the shit out of everybody too. So I mean, like, I'll catch up in the playoffs. I'll be right there. But like the C's team every night is appointment television. It's just like the wealth of guys. It's just hilarious. And my early inclination is like the key parts of this team know this is special. Like Malcolm Brogdon being like the grass is not always greener, guys. By the way, Derek White could probably do the same thing. Al Horford obviously probably echoing the same thing. Blake Griffin, like having those guys be like, guys, like you got to keep this group together as long as possible is probably a really good thing because
it's a good point.
The idea is to be Golden State, right? To be the decade run of dominance. And they're clearly, I'm not trying to like, it's within range here that they could have a run that lasts a long time.
They should
go correctly.
Here I am, the disciplinary father. That's like, they should do that. They should. Those are my expectations.
Well, they've done
They're
that,
certainly
right?
set up for it.
Haven't they done that? Like they're kind of ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
They're up there
I
already.
mean, they missed the playoffs like once since 2008. One time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so stupid. And, again, it's just a good organization all the way top to the bottom. You know what they're doing. Just trust in the process. And it's so funny that the Sixers coined that because Boston did it way better than they did.
Well, Anthony Davis's dad says they're mean, so.
Well, dude, Danny was freaking cutthroat, man. That is a cutthroat dude. And you need
Well,
that.
he traded poor Rudy away.
Yeah, you also need someone like Brad who understands what the team really needs and like kind of.
Yeah.
My question to this team and this particular, I want to know what Mike Zarin's role is. I feel like Zarin's got a bigger job than I think people know.
Yeah.
And I keep tweeting at him, hoping that someday he'll tweet at me because I'm just like trying to be a Mike Zarin fan. But I gotta assume he's got a lot to do with what's going on, and Brad obviously having an eye for. I mean, geez, guy put together some runs that were pretty unbelievable at the time, considering the rosters. And then to do what he's done as an executive is like even more impressive than what he did as a coach.
Yeah,
like this team's perfect right now. And it's
I thought he should have won Executive of the Year last year, or at least been higher in the rankings. But this year,
last year,
it's Grizzlies.
Earl Watson.
Oh, Grizzlies.
I think it was Grizzlies too.
Oh yeah.
Which
makes
sure,
sense.
fair enough. But
Yeah,
I mean, after what the Celtics are doing this year, obviously only 25 games in, but like Brogdon addition,
hard to argue.
finding Hauser, bringing in Blake in this role, like, come on.
Hard to argue right now.
Exactly.
Hard to argue.
Exactly. And like you said, that triple threat MVP, Coach of the Year, Executive of the Year, it's looking pretty pristine right now for the Celtics.
Yeah.
It's
Tatum's going to be the one that's going to be the hardest one. And then somebody has to figure out if the interim coach can still win Coach of the Year, because I don't know if that's possible.
I think they name
He
him
should be.
full-time head coach on the second to last day of the season so he can get it, so he can get the award, accept his reward.
I gotta be honest, I don't know what it would take at this point for Joe to lose his job next year.
I don't think there's any chance. There's no
I don't
chance.
know what it would take because he's been ridiculous. Like, this is ridiculous. And Will Hardy too. Jeez. Talent
Right?
on that bench. Unbelievable.
Makes you think. I've seen plenty of tweets saying it makes you think how much Udoka had to do with it, and which I don't know, but
That thought just popped into my head. And I wasn't even on
Exactly.
Twitter.
I
exactly
mean, it made him tougher, I think.
he did.
I did love that. I mean, I
paying
loved
off
how
a
he
little
just
bit.
like kind of wrangle him up and be like, all right,
The-
stop
the
being a
New
bunch
York-
of bitches.
the
And then
game
they'd
they
go out and
lost
play
against
better.
the Knicks, like in December, was the weirdest press conference I've ever seen. I've never seen a weirder. He routinely ran the team over with the bus and like backed it up and ran him over again. And I'm like, who does this help? Like, does anybody in the anybody in that locker room love this? Like, this is. And then he was like, what do you want me to do? Call plays? Like, you were like, yeah, man, you're the coach. Like, what the fuck is this? I was like, what is this? What is this press conference? And then from then they just went and just murdered everybody. And I was like, I don't know what he did. I don't know what happened. I don't know what it is. Totally works. Totally works. Awesome.
You know what it is? It's like you're like in class and you're like you have a class clown and then a sub comes in for a day and just rags on the class clown. He just kicks his ass and then you go back to the normal teacher. It's like Brad, Ime for 1 year, then Joe, and they're like, nope, we love you, Joe. Thank you for everything. We don't want to go back to what we just dealt with. And I mean, hey, the results are showing like we talked about the Raptors game. If they never had Ime, they don't win that game, right? Like, and I'm not here to give Ime credit. I think he needs to not come back, and I'm happy with Joe. But like that toughness that he brought them, I'm not convinced they win that Raptors game, that Nets game, the Pelicans game earlier this year. Like they're winning tough games that they hadn't won outside of like even last season, the huge stretch they went on. They were just blowing teams out. Like there weren't many close games.
Yeah,
so it's nice to know that they can win those now.
They were hard to evaluate last year because they were blowing everybody out. So.
And they've kind of done that a lot this year too, but they've got sprinkling some close wins in there too. But
They're quiet quitting. They don't do any overtime though. Anytime you ask them to do more than their job, more than 48, they ain't winning.
Well, I mean, tough.
are they 0-3 in overtime?
Yep, they haven't won.
Yeah.
That Miami one was tough because I thought when Jaylen banked that three, and I was like, "Oh, that's fate right there."
Yeah,
that's fate. That's fate. See you later.
I thought he made the heave. I thought he made
the
heave
heave
in the
almost went,
regulation.
too.
I was convinced.
Yeah.
But then Jimmy Butler's ridiculous. Like, I mean,
Jimmy Butler plays like me on the street for 43 minutes. In the last 5 minutes, he's going to come in and make every shot.
Jimmy's badass. I can't quit that guy. That guy rocks.
He's sick.
I don't know why people. I mean, I know he's hard to deal with, but man, that guy's tough.
He's a winner.
I mean, a lot of rats on the Miami team. He's not one of them. Lowry, sure. Hero, sure. Bam setting his illegal screens, sure. Not Jimmy Butler. I mean, that guy's just a dog.
Yeah,
it's just what he is.
I love the rats comparison. That got me.
That's not mine. That's my buddy Matt's, but I'm carrying it over. He's fantastic.
I enjoyed it. I also, this is random totally. We can wrap up here. Sam, you used the word pacified earlier in the show, and I was so shocked.
Did I?
That kind of word. I wrote it on the show sheet. I'm like, what is this guy coming
What was I talking about?
You're talking about how the Celtics pacified Durant in the Nets.
They did. They slowed him down.
That's a good word. There you go.
Writing more, you get the synonyms going, right? You go Google synonyms for whatever it is you're writing about.
You have 30 points in the game, but all right.
Yeah, maybe not. But anyways, we can wrap there. We appreciate you joining us. Like I said earlier, jerseys took up a lot more than I thought it would, but I thought it was fun. I'm glad.
We go through 20.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I wrapped my head around how long it would take to do 20 jerseys, but it was fun. It'll be a video itself. But yeah, Evan Valenti. Celtics Beat podcast. I always ask our guests to say their Twitter and where to find them because I always mess it up. So if you wouldn't mind.
It's my name. It's at EVANVALENTI. If you're listening, it's just my name. It's really simple.
Bingo. And it's on the screen if you are on YouTube, which obviously you should be at this point. So head on over to YouTube. We appreciate you tuning in. And as usual, I'll let Sam wrap up the show.
Yeah, thank you very much for listening or watching. If you're watching, you got the full experience today. You're on YouTube, whether you're on Guy Boston or the How About Them Celtics pod. That's where you should be. Jack will tell you. He loves to tell you to go over there instead. Make sure you subscribe, leave a like, comment. We've gotten good interaction in the videos lately, so that's pretty good. If you're on the streaming services listening, make sure you follow us, leave a nice review, whatever you do there. You'll get all the latest pods. If Jack does tweet the pods, which he has been consistently great at after not doing it for a very long time.
All right. Give me some credit. Come on.
Jack now in his prime. They will be at the How About Them C's Twitter handle. That is on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. That's where you can find us at How About Them C's on the screen. If you want more of Jack, at Jack Simone NBA, he's doing all kinds of work there. Celtics blog, heavy, you name it, he's writing. And if you want more of me, I do less than Jack, but I still do stuff at Sam LaFrance NBA. That's it for us.
Tic-tac-toe.